Hello, Ada. How are you been through lockdown? How's it been for you?
It was okay in the beginning, to be honest. We had, lots of family time, and I realized that my two daughters they kind of enjoyed it. The younger one loved being together. Loved that the older one had a little bit more time, so that was okay. But since then, probably, oh, you got something nice to drink. I should have done. Okay, that's what I did also during lockdown. And then just many questions and lots of lot going on. But I mean, in Germany we got through quite well yet, but we can never say what's coming next. So
Yeah.
yes.
One question I've got to ask you is, you've always been compared to Norah Jones. How do you take that? Do you take it as a compliment, or do you sort of, have that fear where you've got to try and be better than Norah Jones, or how do you sort of take that?
No, actually, no. I mean, it's actually it's a great honor. I love the music. I think she's an amazing woman. She's somebody, as a person inspiring and as a musician. So it's actually, I mean, it's kind of like it's a good box to be put in, even though, however, I would say, it's me and it's nice to have that comparison. I mean, if it's someone that you're really looking up to and you think and you like what she's doing, but I'm still me and doing my music, and hopefully people like that and don't compare it.
And talking about the music, your first album came out last year. That was called Pictures.
Right.
It was more, for me, it's more of a jazzy, but your new album called Box, it's a bit more contemporary. I've only heard 3 tracks from it, but it's quite contemporary sort of jazz. Is that something why did you sort of go down the path of going a bit more contemporary with this album?
It was not something that I planned. It was, I mean, between the 2 albums, even though Box is coming out now just a year later, between the recordings, there are 2 years in between, because it took a while before I released the first album. And in these 2 years, I think there probably has never been a time where so many things changed in my life in a good way. I learned so much as a human being, as an artist, and so I think this is reflects the album. And also, I wrote all the songs by myself for the first album, and for the second album, I also wrote my songs, but I also wrote with other artists. And that was a huge inspiration and a huge influence. And what also is a big difference is I was working again with the same musicians. So the first time we met, it was a blind date, session musicians, and we met. And but from the first minute, there was a really great magic between us. So we kept on working. We did some gigs together, and we started to really get friends. And of course, this influenced my writing, because I knew what like all their personalities, and just for example, McNasty, my drummer, he has an amazing energy, and I know what he's like. I mean, they can play everything. I mean, they're professional, amazing musicians, but it took me more to upbeat songs, and that's probably what it reflects and what you can hear now, that it still has it has jazz and ballades, but it has more upbeat songs, and it's more.
And one of the tracks on the new album is called Wake Up. Is it more, I mean, can you explain the track to me then? Because for me, I think it's something to do with where you want people to just wake up and then try something new. Is that what the track means to you, and obviously why you wrote it?
I kind of wanted it to be seen like a wake-up call to live, to that, you know, that we can create our life, in a sense of like, if something doesn't happen like you wanted it to be, then there are two options. You know, you can either be like, oh, again, that's me, it always happens to me, I'm the unlucky one. Or you can say, okay, let's get up again. Life is about mistakes and about falling and getting up. And there's actually, I'm just thinking of that. I don't remember who said it, but I really love that picture. Someone said that that when you're up a hill, and it's beautiful, and you want to climb up a second hill, you have to go down first.
Yeah.
I mean, or you would just stay on that hill, which at some point is probably gonna get a little boring because you've seen everything.
Yeah.
And so this is more about this. Yeah, just, you know, every day you can just get up again, and it might be hard, and it's not always easy to get the power back and to say, let's keep on going and to learn. But that's what it is about. And also that's a little bit what we kind of sometimes lose. Like when we're younger, we don't think so much, we just do it, and we don't think about, oh, what is he thinking, or what is she thinking. It's just like trying, and to keep that in mind. And because I'm not 20 anymore, just slightly older.
You're younger than me anyway, I think. So
Okay.
I'm 46, so, yeah. So what made you decide to go down the path of singing? Because I know you're obviously renowned for your acting and your writing in Germany. So what?
Can I just say, because I wrote the song Wake Up with Livingston Brown together. Yeah. I just want to mention that because it was really a great, talk about it. It was the idea of what the song is about was, I think I came up with it, but it was really, we had a great conversation about what it means, and then obviously the music, and I just want to mention.
Yeah, well, if you can just play on that, I mean, carry on. How did you sort of bounce the lyrics with each other then? Because, like you said, you wrote it together, and it's sort of an uplifting track. How did you, just talk me through the dynamics of writing?
It was very, with Livingston, it felt like we have never done anything else. I've written like a line on the piano, and I've always heard like a bass playing this, and he's an amazing bass player and playing the bass on the album. So I played this to him and I said, I would like to start with this. And this is actually the first bit, what you hear, the wake up, my friend, it's time to live. That was the beginning of and then it just flowed. I can't really, it's hard to tell, when did this come up? It was, but just.
Magical.
Just very magical, yeah.
So what makes somebody who's renowned in Germany for her writing and acting to sort of go down the path of wanting to become a singer?
Well, it's not like I've probably always felt. I mean, singing was always a part of me, and also do music and playing the piano. But and I've also done some singing as an actress, right. But especially playing the piano, doing music was for a very long time. It was kind of like my soul refuge. It was for me, and I think I wasn't ready. I wasn't, because it was so important to me that I just needed that time to be ready to step out and to present it to the world and to go on stage. But there was not the decision of saying, now I want to become a jazz singer. It was always it was always there. And I can just say that because of the acting and the writing and what I was doing, the universe was a little wiser than I thought, and it just, kind of pushed me in that direction.
Are you glad you left it later to sort of go down the path, or would you have liked to have started to sing and act and write professionally earlier?
Actually, I mean, I can't. The day has 24 hours, and I really, when I'm doing one thing, I'm doing this thing. Definitely, the writing, the acting is helping me for the songwriting. So this is all a combination, but it's the focus is on the music, definitely for me in the moment. That's where my heart is, and the writing is still is always there. It's just like, I sometimes would say, it's like when an idea comes up, it searches for the right form, and this might be a song, but it could also be like "Oh My Love" is a good example, because "Oh My Love," the lyrics has been an essay that I wrote as a writer. And then I took the lyrics because I immediately thought this should be a song. So the acting could probably be a little less, just because of timing, and I'm not actively, like it's nothing you lose, but I'm not actively going out and pushing it. Is probably.
And what made you choose the name Ada Morghe? I mean, why did you not use your stage name or your real name?
Well, in the beginning, honestly, I mean, I have performed with this name for the last, I think, even 7 years.
Okay.
Yeah, it was more kind of like hidden, and it was a little bit also. It was nice to have this name and to not have everybody to immediately be like, oh, that's her, I've seen her on television, or oh, she's the one, she wrote that children book. I just want to be, a different name, and could just try out how. But so I, and then when it came to the first album, Sony, of course, first album came out on Sony. They said, why do you want to use this name? This is going to be difficult, because we also want to use for promotion your real name. And I couldn't really explain it, but the name was my home for my music soul.
Yeah.
I think that's probably an explanation. And I just said, I want to keep it. I even though sometimes I thought, who am I and how many and where am I now? So, but it's good. I can feel it's. I love the name.
Where does it come from then? Why did you choose the name? What's the history behind it?
It's also it's also a funny story, because Ada was the name of my grandmother, and she had a huge influence in me. As an artist, not because she was an artist, but because of her life and of her personality. She was, as a child, I was very inspired by her. So that was pretty clear. And Morghe, how I'd say in German, Morghe is I can't even tell you when it popped up. I've seen it somewhere in Italy.
Okay.
And I loved the word, because I love everything that starts with M, like melancholic or mol, or I don't know. It just had been. But then, honestly, because when it came to the moment, okay, which do you want to? I thought maybe I should look up the meaning of that word.
Yeah.
Because it could be that it means, the old dragonfly, whatever. So here it comes. I looked it up, and it says it's an old Persian, is that the word? Persian legend. It's saying there is the Morghe Amen bird that flies, that when it flies over the heads of people and says amen, their biggest wishes and desires get fulfilled.
Oh.
So I thought, I have to keep it.
Wow. So
I have to keep it.
Wow.
Even though I know it's hard to pronounce, you know, some people are like, what am I going to say now? Ada Morghe. Yeah, I haven't thought about that. I haven't thought of that.
Amazing meaning. Which song on the new album then means the most to you, and why?
Oh, I've heard that question before. It's so hard to tell because it always changes. And I really love, I mean, I love all the songs. I probably have 4 that, you know, like I could say, but it's hard to decide in between Rainy Day, Demons, No More Fools. Oh my love, Box. It is so hard. It's like, it's, yeah. I mean, Rainy Day was one of the first songs that I wrote for this album.
Okay.
So yeah, I also like very much the No More Fools, because when I wrote it, I really had this feeling of like, I want to get rid of all the fools in my life, the idiots. I want to, now it's the time. I want to look up for the people that inspire me, that make me feel good. I want to make them feel good. And yeah, and that's an important song.
I mean, were there any sort of people around you then were saying you shouldn't have gone down the path of doing the singing?
I mean, I think this is also what I found as it's also about yourself, because when I was younger, a lot of times I tend to look out for people who are not good for me for some reason, you know, for some being like, oh, no. So I was like, oh, it's not good enough. Okay. And I'm very open. I think I'm, which is, I think, also like a talent, but sometimes it's too open. Like someone is criticizing me and I'm taking everything, or I used to take everything, but I could feel that physically it was not good to me. It was not giving me any good. And now I learned to say no, or I'm still trying, but you know, I'm saying no, and to really listen to what I feel, and then not to, yeah, because I think life is it's too short, or for, you know, to deal with people. And
yeah,
and the what I have to say is, in the music, I have only met amazing people that are giving, and everything where I am now is also because I've been supported by many people, just giving me their, you know, it's like I started and then, oh, I've got a friend, and that friend, of course, is you know, of course, it's a good person because it's a friend of them. So yeah, that's.
I think the motto is to always surround yourself with positive people, you know, and
Yeah.
you'll get positive energy back.
Yeah,
get away
definitely.
with get the negative people away.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually what I thought. I just said in the beginning that McNasty, the drummer, has a really amazing energy, and all the musicians, because I wasn't that secure as a singer-songwriter in the beginning, especially when I met these, you know, professionals, being on tour with Bill Withers, and you know, and so I was like, but there was no, where you come from, what have you done before. It was just, your songs, we love your songs, we're gonna we make the best out of it, and this is what it's about. Like they're kind of like looking at me, that the energy they're giving comes back, and this is what I truly believe is, like, if someone is on stage and you'd be like, it's definitely reflecting. So yeah, and I hope I can give that back also, or I'm giving that back.
Yeah. Where do you get your music influences from then? Because I know you were born in Dusseldorf, which is, I mean, I used to live near there when I was in the army nearly 20 years ago. And I know Dusseldorf's quite a hit place, isn't it? You know, it's quite a trendy place. And were your music influences from there, or was it later on that you got them from moving away? Or
First of all, I must say, I've been born in Düsseldorf, and that's it.
okay,
um, but because my parents lived outside in a town that is really not so sexy, but you might know if you live there, Bottrop, which, I mean, even the sound of the name is not really sexy. But then it got even worse. They decided to move into a really, really tiny village. So my influence was mostly cows and nature. And it was very, I remember, I loved my childhood. You know, I've been outside the whole time, but I didn't like my teenager years. I was bored many times. And I mean, the good thing is I probably had a lot of time to make up, you know, with a lot of fantasy in my own world.
Yeah.
And the music influence, to be honest, wasn't that great. I've always singing for myself. When I look back now, I know that I was always constantly singing, that somebody was always telling me, you sing again. And I didn't even realize. I was like, just something. But it was Sade. It was the Sade time. So a lot of Sade was in our house. And Fleetwood Mac, and but the influences were more than nature. So it was not the hip city.
Right, okay. I mean, Sade she's quite a hip, you know, sort of funky, sort of.
Yeah.
She's very contemporary as well, isn't she? So maybe that's where you know, found your musical genre to sort of, you know, sing, because obviously Sade's like that, like yourself.
I'm sure that is really something that is kind of like got into me. Yeah, amazing. I love music. Still, it's like classic. You can always listen to it.
I mean, what do you listen to now when you've had a busy day? You sort of want to switch off. Who do you listen to? Who's your go-to artist on the CD or on the radio? Or
well, I actually listened to the CD again during lockdown. It was a time where I took books that are in the bookshelf that I haven't read, and I took CDs.
Yeah,
which was amazing, which was great. I, you know, like, because I got back in that time, I could travel back to the times when I really listened to the whole CD. But now it's like I listen to many different artists. At the moment, I listen to Liana Le Havas, Jamie Cullum. I really like Jamie Cullum, or Gregory Porter.
Yeah.
I've just heard that amazing song, Sampa the Great, Freedom. So it's really an amazing song, I think. So I think it's pretty diverse. I'm not, Georgia Smith. Yeah, I could name many more.
Right, okay. And by listening to these sort of, you know, recently these old CDs or then any new music, will that be influencing your songwriting going forward, or is it that's just your escape, and then when you do your writing you don't think about, you know, I listened to this and this worked on with certain artists, or is it just you just don't even do that?
I mean, it probably, I'm sure, of course, it has an influence. You know, like I listen. Also, Billie Eilish is an inspiration. It's just whenever people doing something that you'd be like, yeah, you know, that's new. It's something is inspiring. But once I sit down on the piano, it's not like I'm thinking of a song or of an artist. It's usually that I'm many times I have kind of like a line in my head, or sometimes it's just a picture of an image.
Yeah.
And I start playing and yeah, sometimes it's very fast, and sometimes I'm glad we are having the opportunity of now recording with my iPhone, because that's what I'm doing the whole time. Like, I'm recording stuff, I listen back to it, and sometimes I even listen back to it, or I think I'm thinking I'm creating a new line, and then I find out I already played it. Then I know, okay, maybe I should go on.
Right.
if I feel like, oh, a new melody, but I've already done it. Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned the piano. I know you play the piano, but how long have you been playing the piano? Is it something you learned as a kid, or was it later in life?
I learned it as a kid. I started when I was 6, but this sounds like I'm, doing the. I was very, very, like maybe lots of teenagers. When I was 14, 15, I didn't really have much. Yeah. But I was lucky because my piano teacher, he said, you know what, why don't you, we improvise.
Mm.
So he was not even learning me the chords, but he was telling me to listen to the notes and to just try which notes, are good together, sound good or sound good to me, and to tell a story with these notes. So I think by doing this, it was amazing because it was no pressure on me.
Yeah.
Because I see a lot of people that had classical piano lessons when they were younger, and when they got older and didn't have the opportunity to play, then they sit down and be like, oh, I don't remember. I don't remember how it works.
Yeah.
And I never had this fear of a wrong note, because I was just trying. And so this is what I've been doing many times. There have been years during my studies where I didn't have or I just had a shitty keyboard, and I mean, I still did it, but it got more and more important.
Yeah.
When I got older.
So you obviously spent a lot of time. It has. Can I just ask you then one last question? The album's obviously is out in August. How, what sort of plans have you got set in place in Germany, or have you going to go? Obviously you can't tour, but how, what sort of things have you got in place?
Well, I mean, that's actually really frustrating, because I was so much looking forward to do gigs with my musicians. That is, well, yeah, I mean, we're on the same boat with that. But I'm very thankful because I'm actually doing an open air. No, it's not an open air concert, because that sounds like it's huge. But next week I'm doing in a beer garden, and I'm gonna just me. I'm just, it's kind of preview, sneak preview of the album.
Yeah.
I'm going to play some songs, and they have a screen, because usually they do now, they're showing movies. So we shot right before lockdown, we shot a video for Box. So and so the team is going to be there, and we will have that video premiere, and I'm very much looking forward to it, because I mean, it's great to have the opportunity with streaming at least, but it's missing the air to breathe and the life. And I don't want to always look at the numbers, at the streaming numbers, and be like, oh yeah, it's like, it's very boring to celebrate with myself, or not to celebrate, however it works. So.
But it's like you obviously singing to, you don't know who you're singing to, and you've not got that feedback from the audience, which is something as an artist you're going to miss.
I mean, at least you have the comments when you do a live stream, but still, I mean, there's always a time lag. So, and I find it also stressful to do both, to be, to play and also maybe reading the comments, and so there is some kind of reaction, which is good, because a little bit it feels weird, because you're just by yourself and just playing. But of course, it's definitely missing that you see people and that you hear people and feel their energy. What we just said. But I'm thinking positive, so maybe I can do in September. I'm still working it out if I can do a release concert, at least one. We're still working on that, maybe, of course, with less people, only maximum 50 is in Germany now.
Okay.
But it might, yeah, we can probably do it. And then hopefully I come to Wales, not just to England next year.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, well, thank you for that. I mean, so you want to obviously sing a couple of songs, is that okay?
Yes. I'm gonna sing Water Lilies, the song that is already out, and that's the unplugged version. It starts very high, and as we have the evening now, it, let's see. Okay. It's about a toxic love.
Okay.
About two people who cannot be with and cannot be without each other, and are, a very bitter love. Don't you call on my name? Your words are stabbed of hate. We were doomed from the beginning. Water lilies on the ground. Break this heavy chain that ties me to your body. We were poisoned for each other. Water lilies on the ground. Don't you see? Don't you see? Bitterness of love. Don't you see? Don't you see? Bitterness of love. Stop this crazy game of yours that tears my soul apart. We were doomed from the beginning. Water lilies on the ground. Don't you see? Don't you see? Bitterness of love. Don't you see? Don't you see? Bitterness of love. Don't you know these flowers never bloom? Don't you know these flowers never bloom? Don't you see? Don't you see? Bitterness of love. Don't you see? Don't you see? Bitterness of love.
Powerful. That's a very powerful track.
Thank you. Thank you.
Beautiful. What's it about then? What's what are the lyrics about?
um, well, it goes back to a very intense love story that I had, where I knew actually from the beginning that it was going to end in pain, even though, but I just couldn't get away. So, and this is what the song is about. I was looking for an image, a picture that is beautiful, but something beautiful that is already doomed, like water lilies on the ground, which is not possible because they're on the surface. And yes, and these it's about, break this heavy chain that ties me to your body is obviously also very instinctively love. And yeah, and how hard it is, but it's it's just, it doesn't work together. It's maybe too possessive, too passionate. I don't know if it can be too passionate, but I just feel like it's not gonna do you anything good for the whole life. I'm glad I had it, but yeah, that's what the song is about.
I'm glad so, because the song's beautiful. So I'm glad in a weird way that you had to go through that, but the end product is fantastic. So yeah.
Well, I mean, this is probably a good thing. I have some years of living already, so I still have a lot of things that I can talk about.
Yeah.
And hopefully more is coming. Definitely more is coming.
Sure, for sure. Wonderful. Okay, well, I hopefully I get to see you in concert at some point when things are normal.
Yes, I hope so too. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
To Wales and to England.
All right, cool. Okay. I'll speak to you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Perfect. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.